Hi everyone, it's Cindy. Welcome back to Studioloo. We're here for day 3 of the September stash smash, where I am just using up things in my stash because that's what I should be doing. So yesterday, if you tuned in, we made a bunch of collage boards. I did chop them all up into usable pieces. Yeah, that's all of them. Okay, so we got a good stack. So I was thinking of using some of them today to kind of like, you know, create things. And I think like the colors are kind of bright and fun. So I've had this book for a while, Brownies Around the World. So this is like an old book, an old brownies book, probably I think the 60s. Can't find any kind of a date on it, but it's basically about what is now called, they changed the name of the brownies to make it a more inclusive name, to Embers a few years ago now, a couple years ago. So this one is all about the now Embers from all around the world. So I thought I would go ahead and like, these pages are kind of like, they're like little paper dolls basically. Each one of them has a different girl. So they're very much like a paper doll. So I thought I would pull those out and we could use them. And to make them a little bit less like twee, you know, weirdly cutesy, I'm going to add a nature poem as well to them. And one thing I like is that they don't have any specific country kind of emblems or anything like that. They're just cute girls in these dresses. Norway, oh, nice. Moose. South Africa. Switzerland. Trinidad and Tobago. And we might be... Oh look, the back has postage stamps from other lands. That's cool. Let's keep that too. It's really fun. Alright, and I'm going to get rid of the rest because I don't need it. But now we have a little stack of like girls we can use on some pieces. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm just going to cut out. We'll start with this lovely girl. Just gonna like leave a little bit of white space around and then I'll probably ink it a little bit. So I'm actually filming just a little bit before bedtime. Thought, well, the house is quiet. The kids are actually upstairs watching Mang-Chi, the Korean chef that we love, with Dad. I was just up there. We had I made a nice Korean dinner tonight, actually. Nice spicy noodles and kimchi and like some other stuff, some greens and things, spicy greens. So I think what I'll do is I'll see about, can we match her up with this? This is a little one for her, but I mean, she fits. That would actually be cute. And now we just need to find kind of a verse. So like, let's find maybe something from, oh, dandelions. Incorrigible brash, they brighten the cinder path of my childhood. Unsubtle, the opposite of primroses, but like primroses, capable of growing anywhere. Railway track, pierhead, like the extrovert friends who never make us fall in love, yet fill the primroseless, roseless gaps. That's pretty cute. Okay, let's actually pull that out. That's great. So we'll start with that one. And glue book is under here. Oof. There we go. My taller one. So I hope that your September is off to a good start. If you've got little ones going to school, I hope it all goes well and you have a smooth transition back. Summer can feel like long and short all at once sometimes. I kind of feel like summer feels like it went quickly, but also it was a weird summer because it was just very hot for a lot of summer. I feel kind of like we didn't have the same kind of summer as we normally do. Thankfully, where I live at least, we didn't have as much drought as a lot of other places did. But I know it was a difficult weather summer for a lot of people. Also for farmers, because there was so much drought. I know the corn this year, it was good in some places, but in a lot of other places, it stayed very short, and it had root burn all the way up to the stalk. It was pretty bad. Okay, so I just backed that with a bit of old paper, and then I'm going to cut it into a tag. And then the trickier part will be this, which is I want to use the word dandelions because it's not actually in the poem, but I feel that it's important to the sentiment of the poem. So I'm going to put that there. And then I just want to cut these out because it's not a super wide tag. And some of these lines are going to have to get cut in half. This one. And for some of these, I might just use one of the verses of a longer poem. Yeah, maybe this one was a little bit long, but it's okay. We're there now. We're here now. We have to carry on. And then on the other side of this, there's another poem. So I think what I'll do probably is just set this aside to make word snippets out of. So that'll be another way to use up this stash. And then I'm going to use my art glitter glue for the rest of the work here. And just kind of one at a time pick these up. I think I got a bit there. You just gotta be careful not to mess up their order here. This is a little more concentration than I anticipated. Okay. So is anybody going to watch the new Wednesday series on Netflix. I am. I enjoyed the first one quite a lot. I thought it was fun. Great actors and actresses. Have to start thinking about Halloween because the reality is when you have kids, things all sort of have to start with a little more planning so that you're ready by that time, especially for me because I end up having to often make like costumes. So I'm going to start asking the kids what they want to be. All right, there we go. Oops, I made a boo-boo, boo-boo-boo. Can I lift this back up? That'll be the true testament of, That's what I was saying, don't lose here. Your order. This one goes here. That's okay. That actually cleaned up a lot easier than I thought it was going to, even though it's our glitter glue. Yeah, okay. All good. Now, I'm going to take my vintage photo and I'm just going to kind of dust all around her as well as on top of the words. Just gently, not a ton of ink. I just want to dull the white down a bit overall. And then more heavily, I'm going to ink the edges. I just realized I have a little extra paper right here. That didn't fully trim. There we go. Okay. That is very cute. I like how these turn out. I'm feeling already just like, yay, I'm glad I did this because I was sort of like, you know, I sort of knew what I wanted to do with this book and I felt like every time I saw it, it was kind of languishing at me like, use me up. I'm trying to like go through some of my books that I feel like I don't need anymore. I think I have some cutter books that like I've probably used what I'm going to use. Because I think once I get a certain kind of journal out of my system, that like if there's much left over, especially if the theme's really specific, I'm probably not going to use it all up. So I'm trying to just go through those kind of things and like pull out anything I could use in another theme and throw it into like my Tuesday 10 basket or like another. Sorry, I had to change my battery, as I was saying, another basket like of, you know, project stuff, and then just get rid of the rest of the book because like I don't need to keep everything. So let me look at this. When I had laid it on the floor, I went to blow the fire aflame, but something rustled on the floor, and someone called me by my name. It had become a glimmering girl with apple blossoms in her hair, who called me by my name and ran and faded through the brightening air. Okay, so yeah, I like all of this except for the first part of it. So it would just become like, it would be about a flame, right? And then I see up here, something about white moths. I'm gonna just grab this little thing that says, and white moths and moth-like stars were flickering. I'm gonna set that aside. Who knows, I might use it. But yeah, this is now going to be, I went to blow the fire aflame, but something rustled on the floor, and someone called me by my name. It had become a glimmering girl with apple blossom in her hair who called me by my name and ran and faded through the brightening air. See, like, that's nice. Like, very fun. I feel like it's just like a tale for, like, you know, a storytelling for a girl, you know, like, it's kind of cool. Okay, so we'll trim this down. And maybe what I'll do is I'll go line by line. Oh no, I can't, because I need to make sure that I have enough room, right? That's the whole reason I'm doing kind of the lay down of the words. I mean, for this one, I think I'll totally have a ton of room, but this is nice because it kind of gives me an idea of how I want to lay it out too. So tomorrow is, like I said, I'm filming a little early ahead of September, and tomorrow is the very last day before the kids go back to school for me, and I have to figure out what I want to do with them to kind of get that very last day in. I feel like I just want to spend a lot of quality time with them. Something about having kids between the ages of like 6 and 10 or something. I mean, mine are a little younger and in the middle of that range, but it just feels like the time, it moves so quickly. And everyone used to say that to me all the time, like, enjoy it, it goes so quickly, especially when they were babies. But I really feel it now, especially my daughter, 'cause she just seems to mature like 3 years for every one or something. Makes me feel like a little about that song, that slipping through my fingers song. I think it's an ABBA song. Okay. This is also just a very relaxing project. So if you're feeling like you want to create some ephemera, that you like the look of this, highly recommend to just get a poetry book and a focal point you want to work with. Make some collage boards. Something about poetry, I think, that adds kind of a maturity and an elegance to this kind of work. Like, even though the materials I'm using, you know, it originated from a vintage children's guide, essentially, I think with the poetry, it makes it a little more sophisticated as an overall piece of collage work. Obviously, you can add much more to these than what I'm doing right now. I'm just kind of keeping it simple, and that's fine. Again, hold it down with the ink. There we go. So now we have 2. All right. Cut her out. Oops. I'm going to read with my daughter tonight. We're reading Judy Blume, who started on the Tales of a Fourth Grade Nothing. So she's enjoying it, as I suspected she would. Starting to get her into Judy Blume, because just a really great, I think it's a really great reading path for young girls. I mean, for kids in general. So what is this poem? Though I am old with wandering through hollow lands and hilly lands. It's weird to rhyme the same word twice. I will find out where she has gone and kiss her lips and take her hands and walk among long dappled grass and pluck till time and times are done, the silver apples of the moon, the golden apples of the sun. I think I'm going to take the last 4 lines of that only. So it becomes, and walk among long dappled grass and pluck till time and times are done, the silver apples of the moon, the golden apples of the sun. I think that in itself I like. I'm not sure. That's too busy. In fact, I don't like that as it is, and it has everything to do with that sparkly red paper. It's got to go. I'm just not a red person, I'm telling you. I'm just not. This, however, is perfect for her. So we'll get her glued on here. Because this is a shorter poem, I'm going to glue as I go with it every line. That's that. And then get rid of the sticky page. I'm so excited that the fall fairs are starting. They begin this upcoming weekend. We're going to check one out. It's one of my favorite things about fall. And one of my favorite things about the fairs in general is wandering around the agricultural barns and looking at all the kid art and all the fun, like, produce, like, you know, carrots that look like little people with legs, and, you know, all the decorated kind of art pieces and stuff for the kids make. It's probably my favorite part. And this year I was able to get this like midway pass for the kids so they can go on their little rides without having to buy the tickets. I honestly, like, I'm so happy I could just, you know, I think the passes were like $25 for unlimited, like, rides. And, like, it's so much cheaper because, I mean, for, like, I think 40 tickets, it's like, you know, $35 or something, or $30. And, like, every ride is like 3 or 4 tickets, except for the little bitty kid rides that are like 2. So I was like, we need to just get the unlimited local fare pass, because I don't want to be like spending hundreds of dollars. Because I mean, I know I'm already going to be buying like the cotton candy and all that kind of stuff, but that's fine. But local fairs can really cost a lot, because like admission is, you know, one thing, and it's usually not too bad for kids, but it, you know, it can be around $60 for 2 adults or so, maybe a little more. And then obviously all the food that you buy, and then the ride passes and the concessions on top of like regular food. And if you end up playing, you know, the carnival games, which I honestly just don't like being around carnies. They annoy me. I find them creepy, and like, I'm not trying to be rude, but like, I don't know if you guys have encountered carnies like I have. My entire life, including my childhood, I found them to be the cringiest people. Like, they're always like, first of all, they're usually smoking, and secondly, they're like not very clean, and they're like in your face and yelling, and like, you know, it's just, I know they have a job to do, and I know it's not fun, and it's like, there's a whole separate, like, sad situation that they're dealing with, I'm sure. But I just don't know. I don't trust them. I don't like being around them. It's just a thing. It's probably just a me. Well, it's probably not just a me thing, to be honest. I mean, I think I feel a little bit like traumatized, because I still remember like this moment of like being probably like, I don't know, an 11-year-old girl, and this extremely creepy middle-aged guy who was like smoking, and he had like a weird band t-shirt on, he like came up and like, you know, put his arms around me, like his arm around me, and like hugged me kind of, and pulled me into him, and, you know, said something to like my cousin that I was with about like, you know, come on, play a game for her. And like, when said my cousin, he was just like, what the? So he like grabs me, and he's like, yeah, no, we're not interested, because he was probably like 15 at the time. And I just think, I don't know, it made an impression on me. And I see like the same kind of behavior a lot, to be honest. And it just gives me the heebie-jeebies. Okay, but that being said, you know, if you have people in the business that like, and they're not like that, please know that I don't feel that way generally about all people who work at the carnival industry or all that, but the fair industry. But I've just had some experiences and seen a little bit too much that kind of bothers me. This year's at the spring, and days at the morn, mornings at 7, the hillsides dew pearled, the larks on the wing, the snails on the thorn. I think that's exactly what I'll use right there, maybe. Just, the years at the spring, and days at the morn. Yeah, that's good, right there. Just keep it short and sweet. And then, you know, another thing you can do, if the piece will allow you, and I think this one will, is to just ink it and put the whole thing on. But you know what? I kind of think I like the look of the individual lines better, so maybe not. And I'm probably not going to be able to put her full legs on this one, and I'm okay with that. I like the color here, because she's got a more, first of all, her skin tone can stand up on these colors, but so can this shade of her dress. I felt like this lighter shade like this, it couldn't really stand up on that color, so that's why I didn't use it on the last one. Yeah, she just looks like she's kind of taking a stroll. That's cute. Okay. And I need to just trim this a little bit. I mean, also, I just think the games are all very rigged, and I have no desire to, like, play them. I also think they're just kind of frustrating for kids when they don't win anything. I mean, some of the games, in all fairness, I shouldn't down on all carnies, because some carnies actually, they're running a game where all, you know, the kids always win something, and that's kind of cool. Or they're not as challenging as some others. But I think some kids like can get really frustrated, you know, and then they end up wanting to play again and again and again, and before you know it, you've spent like $80 on some dollar store plush toy that looks like it was made in the 80s, and it's full of weird styrofoam, and it's like some character, like a, you know, fluorescent orange tiger with purple eyeballs or something. This is like the most demented toys they have too. That's another thing. I remember just kind of like, it's funny, I've grown up to be such a fan of like demented toys and things, because I used to think as a kid like that the toys were kind of scary that they would sell. I was never interested in like playing the games even as a kid because, well, first I really hated being around smoking, and I still do because my parents were smokers, and I'm very much anti-smoking. I can't stand being around it. And so there was that, but then also like, I don't know if you guys remember in the 80s that like at fairs, all of the prizes were like weird. They were like a combination of a mirror and like some kind of like a Budweiser poster, or like a tin sign, or like it was like a mirror that was also a Budweiser like ad, or it would have like, you know, AC/DC, or like it would be some like, you know, either like a rock band or like an alcohol reference or something bizarre. I don't know. The 80s were so weird. Like, I seriously feel like kids and teens of the 80s, like we just grew up in a time that like, it was a time that was entirely there to cater to adults, but like we were just stuck there. Like every environment we were in practically was like inappropriate for kids, and everything our parents and everyone around us did was inappropriate. Like, you know, family reunions with like a lot of like drinking and like adult, you know, stuff going on, like songs that were inappropriate and behavior in general at weddings. And I just grew up around all that kind of stuff. Like, you know, watching people get totally like hammered and, you know, just drunk, and being around a lot of swearing. And I don't know, it's very, very, weird to think about now that I'm a parent, because like my kids would not be around any of that at all. And I was reading this thing the other day about like, you know, gentle parenting. So since like gentle parenting, you know, started, that there's a lot less like youth violent crime than there once was, which totally does not surprise me, because like if you think about just the inappropriate stuff that kids were, you know, around, and now we know how really fragile kids' minds are, and that, you know, really children don't stop developing until their mid-20s, their brains. It's sort of, yeah. I think about everything inappropriate that I ever encountered and at what age, and like it boggles my mind that I've turned out to be this like relatively responsible adult. Yeah. So I think carnies fall into that same, like, not really terribly appropriate for kids. And there's always just like blasting loud music too. You notice that? Like blasting loud music, and you can never hear what they're saying, and they're yelling, and it's just such a nightmare. I'm just going to call this episode like Carny Doom or something. Cindy offends the entire population of people who work at fairs by accident because she's not thinking. Oh, that's a nice page. It's really pretty. I'm going to set that aside. I was just thinking as I went here, maybe we could kind of get rid of some of these. I found the poems in the fields and only wrote them down. That's pretty. I'm going to get rid of some of the stuff I don't want. That's nice. We'll keep that. These are fun, but I don't want to use them for this. So I need some kind. We don't want winter. I think like spring and summer are more. I'm gonna use this one. It's about birds. I'm just going to use the first verse of this. The thrushes sing as the sun is going, and the finches whistle in ones and pairs. And as it gets dark, loud nightingales in bushes pipe as they can when April wears, as if all time were theirs. So again, it's like, you know, these girls telling you a story about nature. And I love how she looks with her blue, with this bit of Korean paper back here. It looks very cool. Maybe I'll also just back this now. Yeah, I'm really glad that I used up those book pages to make these, because now I've got all this lovely material to work with. I'm so glad I thrifted this poetry book. I end up getting a lot of poetry books because I really like them, but I also find a lot of them, especially the older ones, there's a lot more like morose poetry in books than like, you know, positive, and then it's only a certain kind of like journal that you can kind of put that in. Or you end up creating these very morose pieces, and I try not to make things too sad. I forgot to bring water down here again. I think I'm going to install a water filtration system down here in the studio, so I don't have to always go upstairs or bother my husband to bring me water. Because I probably need to go to Canadian Tire and get filters anyhow for my other two. I've got one upstairs in my master bathroom, and then I have another one in my kitchen. Kind of makes sense to have one downstairs too. So all 3 floors will have filtered water to drink. I can't drink. I don't know. I know a lot of people say that this is just a, you know, a myth or people complaining, but I grew up on well water because I lived in a small village, and we didn't have like you know, a centralized water system until I was, I mean, probably out of my teen years, and we had a well, and then our town like incorporated with like the other towns around it to become like this one thing, and they forced us to get rid of our well water, which was very annoying because they wanted us on like, you know, town water or whatever, and we were not happy about it. So my whole life I drank the well water, And then when we moved to the town water, it just was so like super chlorine smelling. I'm not against fluoridated water, but like, you know, like, I don't know, there was probably, I don't know if there was fluoride in the water I drank as a kid. I really have no idea, but I do believe in it because I don't believe that it does anything bad to your health. And I know there's, you know, loads of statistics, including a town or a city not too far from where I live, where they removed fluoride from the water. And there was just a ton of tooth decay. So they added it back in because it really does make a difference for kids' teeth. So anyways, when we got the town water, like, my parents hated the smell. It was hard water, so it changed. Like, we had to, you know, put a water softener in for our shower and everything. It was very weird. And then we couldn't drink it, so my parents had started to buy bottled water, like the big bottles, and we had a dispenser and stuff. But then my dad got tired of carrying them upstairs because my parents live in an 1800s building that has like 3 staircases to get up to where they live. So it was not fun. So then we just got this water filtration system, and I find, like, I tried to drink that water, but ever since, like, living where I used to live, and even now, like, it gives me heartburn. It's very weird. Like, it's just, I don't know. I've tried and tried again, and I can't drink it. It just gives me heartburn. So I have to drink spring water or filtered water. There's something in it, and I'd love to know what it is that causes that, but, yeah, it's not good for me at all. So, well, that one's nice. That might be good. Yeah, I'm just kind of looking for the right colors for this one. So put her on there. And do I want it this way or this way? I think I like it that way. But I kind of don't want to lose her shoes. That's a little short. Maybe this. This is kind of nice. We have some pink and neutral, and then we have neutral and black. Oh, I kind of like that one. But I'll have to trim it a bit. Also, it's terribly crooked. What was I doing? What was I doing when I cut this? Because I think I used the chopper to cut these. Well, actually, the bottom is quite crooked as well. Let's do that first, and then take a look here at what we got going on. What's the straight side? This one, okay. I want to take as little as possible. Okay. Wow, that's better. I don't know what I was doing there, guys. I don't know. Okay, let's move along here. Yeah, and we'll put her in the middle there. So let me know, what's your experience with the water where you live? Did you ever change the water you drank? Like, did your city get industrialized with, like, you know, a different water system like what I experienced? And did it bother you? It's like, I always feel like I don't buy plastic water bottles at all anymore. We use reusable water bottles, and everywhere we go, we like fill up like 1,000,000 water bottles so that we have water all day. But it does bug me whenever there's a situation where I feel like people can't drink tap water. Like, we should be able to drink our tap water, you know? It should be free, it should be good, safe, clean, and healthy. Everyone should have that. Water is a human right, you know? That's why it frustrates me so much with what's faced by Indigenous people on reserves here, even in Canada. On many of them, they've been on boil notice for many years. I mean, really decades. They've never had good water. And it's not fair. All right, let's cut that into a tag. Good. So this one, these are brand new birds of 12 months growing, which a year ago or less than twain. No finches were, nor nightingales, nor thrushes, but only particles of grain and earth and air and rain. I don't think so. That one is not really speaking to me. Alas, she hath no other cause of anguish, but Teros love on her by strong hand, nah, blah, blah, blah. Nope, not that one. That was kind of whatever to me. We need a new poem. Something that's not about love. These are young girls. So here's an end of roaming on eves when autumn nighes. The ear too fondly listens for summer's parting sighs. And then the heart replies. That's quite cute. Okay, I'm good with that one. Okay. I was listening to so much music today because I'm working on the September playlist for Patreon. So I do a creative music playlist as part of my Patreon stuff. And I have so much music in my brain from doing that today. It's kind of a nice problem to have, really. And it also gets the soundtrack of the K-pop Demon Hunters almost out of my brain, although somehow I think that's going to be in my brain forever because my kids are just, my son especially, is just like over the moon with that music. I think he's got a real music bug inside of him. I've been sending him to dance classes and stuff, and he loves it, and I think I'm going to get him into music. Probably just a freeform music, because I think he's not old enough yet for piano. I'd like to get him into piano, but I really got to make sure he can read and write to the level that you need to. I found when I put my daughter in, well, at least the piano classes that the city here runs. I like using the city programs because they're usually really good. I found that there was a lot more reading and writing than what I'd expected, and she was 5 at the time, and not just her but 2 other kids that were in that class ended up stopping. Like she never has ever asked me to quit anything except for piano. She just didn't like it. She said she felt embarrassed. And one time she even was crying. She didn't tell me she was crying, but the teacher told me the next time, because she couldn't keep up, because like they were making them write all the music, and like I don't know. It wasn't what I expected, I think. I didn't realize kids had to be like super, fluent with like reading and also reading music notes. Like they had to get it a little faster. So 2 other kids dropped out as well, but we were friends with one of the little boys. Like we ended up becoming friends over the first few classes. So those people ended up, they were living not too far from where we live, and so we stayed in touch, and they agreed like they didn't expect it to be so much reading. Like I know you have to be able to read notes and music bars and stuff, but it was also just a lot of writing, and like they were writing like full-on 2 to 3 paragraphs of words and then having to draw the tablature. And the classes are only an hour long, right? So that's a lot for 5-year-olds. So, yep. Okay, so I think I'm going to stop the video there for what we're doing, but I'm going to make the rest of these into these, and I'm going to have this whole lovely little collection. But let's take a look at the ones that we made, because I think they're really nice. And it's just kind of a nice way to use up something vintage like this and make something that's a little more sophisticated than just like kids, right? I'll bring them up so you can see them a little closer. See how the collage is really nice, right? It really makes a big difference. And the inking, I know it's kind of hard. The light's a little bright. But yeah, I'm really happy with these, and I hope you enjoyed them as well. So I will see you tomorrow, hopefully, for more September Stash Smash. And if you're taking part in September Stash Smash, please let me know. Tag me, let me know that you're making videos. I will link you and talk about you and gloat about how awesome you are. And until next time, have a great day. Bye for now.